Okay, so we're going to review for this quiz. I want you guys to follow along, jot down that title, Review for Quiz 0.2 to 0.3 in your notebook. Please put the date and the day, Thursday, 1/16, 2020. Okay, I want everybody to start out with an A, right? Feels good to have an A in math, all right? Everybody should have an A+ in math tomorrow because I'm going to tell you exactly what's on the quiz. The first 10 questions on the quiz are going to be on classifying. Now, you don't have to write this down exactly right now. How about this? Just right now, let's just watch. All right, I want to tell you exactly what's going to be on there, and then after I tell you exactly, I want to go through each one of those. All right. So right now, you don't even have to copy down 10 questions on classifying. All right. Don't even worry about that. But the first part of the quiz, questions 1 through 10, will be classifying. Like, what is the square root of 7? Oh, that's irrational. Bless you. Or like, what is the number 3? Oh, that's a natural number. You guys remember that stuff, right? I hope. And so that's a huge chunk of the quiz right there. That's actually a third of the quiz, 33% of the quiz. After that, there's going to be 4 questions on comparing. Now, what do I mean by that? Like if I say, what's bigger, -7 or -10? What's bigger, -7 or -10? -7's bigger because it's on the right side if you do it on the number line, right? What else is going to be on the quiz? There's going to be 4 questions on approximating square roots. So we all know that the square root of 25 is 5. We already know that the square root of 49 is 7. We already know that the square root of 81 is 9, right? Now, if I say, what's the square root of 82? 82. If we know that the square root of 81 is 9, what's the square root of 82? It's going to be a little bit more than 9. So that's where we say it's approximately 9.1, right? And of course, we're going to go over some of those examples. You cannot use your notes on the quiz. One question will be extra credit. Well, I'll give you a bunch of real numbers, and you just have to put them in order from smaller value to bigger value and use the number line. It's pretty easy. If you get it wrong or if you want to skip it, go ahead. But it is possible to get 103% on the quiz tomorrow because of this extra credit question. All right, what else is going to be on the quiz? The last part of the quiz, very simple. 6 are going to be adding and subtracting. Just think of money, right? And the last 5 are going to be multiplying and dividing. And that's where you need to use the rules. A negative times a negative is a positive. If the signs are the same and you're multiplying, it's positive. If the signs are different and you're multiplying, it's negative. So I've told you exactly what's going to be on the quiz. Let's go through each one of these right now. The first type, it's going to look like this. The first part of the quiz, you're going to put your name on the quiz and you're going to see this. Boom, right? 10 questions on classifying. Now notice, we have the diagram that you guys drew in your notes, right? Yeah, and it's all set up right here. This first group of numbers that has a 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be a blank spot, and you're going to have to actually write it over here on the answer key. So what would this first blank spot be? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are definitely natural numbers, right? So you're going to have to fill that in. The next one, what's this guy going to be? Whole numbers. It has the number 0, the number with the biggest hole in it. And then this next one's going to be what? Okay. Integers. When you have nice positive numbers, nice negative numbers, those are called integers. Now, if you ever have a fraction or a decimal, those are rational numbers. Whoops, I moved the wrong thing. So yeah, this is rational numbers. And now what if we have the number pi, which is crazy, or square root of 2, which is crazy? Those are irrational, okay? So that right there is, let me see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points right there, 5 points. Out of the 30, there's going to be 5 more where I'm going to actually give you a number and be like, hey, classify a square root of 9. What do you think the square root of 9 is? A lot of people are going to say irrational, but what is the square root of 9? It's 3. So what is 3 classified? 3 is natural, right? Or I might give you something like, what is -1/3? What would that be? -1/3. That is rational, right? So we're going to have a total of 10 questions. I think they're pretty straightforward, pretty easy. If you know what you're doing, you should get done with this section in a couple of minutes. Let's move on to the next section. We're going to have 4 questions on comparing. Okay, 4 questions on comparing. So number 1, how could we compare 2 fractions? There's many different ways of comparing 2 fractions, right? Which way would you guys like to do to compare number 1? The fraction 1/10 with 1/100th. Division. What was that? Division? Okay, so if you divided 1 by 100, or if you actually read it 1/10, right? Then you could actually just write it as a decimal because it's said the same way, 1/10, 0.1, right? How would you read this guy? 1/100ths. So the 1 is in the 100ths position, right? So if you were to divide it, you'd get 0.1. If you were to divide it, you get 0.01. But in my opinion, I would actually get a common denominator. I would get a common denominator. I think that's the easiest. How could I change this 10 to look like 100 times 10? So if you go times 10 times 10, you'll have 10 over 100, and it's 1 over 100. Now that you have a common denominator, 100 and 100, you could look at the 10 and the 1, and it'll clearly show you that 10 is bigger. So 1/10 is most definitely bigger than 1/100ths. On number 2, all you got to do is think of a number line. Which one's to the left, which one's to the right? Which one's bigger, -3 or -5? -3 is bigger. So it's a greater than symbol right there. Again, if you think about the number line, -5 is over here, -3 is over there, -3 is on the right side, -5 is on the left side. So -5 is less than -3. Since -3 is on the right side, -3 is greater than -5. So it has to open up to the -3. Last one, again, which way would you compare these two fractions? Multiply times 10. So yeah, you're going to end up with times 10 times 10. Well, I can't even do times 10. So yeah, it's 90 over 100 compared to 99 over 100. So which one's bigger? 99 over 100. So there's going to be 4 of those. I only gave you 3. I think there's going to be one with decimals, but it's 4 pretty easy questions of comparing. Let's move on. There's going to be 4 questions on approximating square roots. Okay, approximating square roots. And as a matter of fact, it's a total of 5 because one question itself is to list your perfect square numbers from 1 all the way to 144. Okay, so that's an actual question, and you actually need that list in order to answer these decimal approximations. So right now in your notebooks, please write down 4 questions on approximating square roots. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's put this up here on top. 4 questions on approximating square roots. Give a decimal approximation. And even before giving a decimal approximation, you need your perfect square number list. And I will give you 1 point if you're able to do this. What's 1 times 1? What's 2 times 2? What's 3 times 3? What's 4 times 4? What's 5 times 5? 6 times 6? 7 times 7? 8 times 8? 9 times 9? 10 times 10? 11 times 11? 12 times 12? Okay, so we got kind of messed up on these last ones. We need to brush those skills up, right? Because you need to do this on your own, and you can't use the calculator tomorrow. I'll let you use calculators on future tests, but tomorrow I really want to, it's not difficult at all. All you got to do is practice these multiplication tables. Now, once you have this perfect square number list, now you could be like, okay, where's the square root of 30 at in terms of this list? It's between 25 and 36. Now, is it really close to 25? No. Is it really close to 36? No. So that's pretty much in the middle. So if this answer, the square root of 25 is 5, and this answer, the square root of 36 is 6, what's your answer going to be that's in between 5 and 6? Approximately 5.5. Does that make sense? Now, if I would have said, what's the square root of 26? Well, then that'd just be 5.1 because it's a little bit more than the square root of 25. If I would have said, what's the square root of 35? Oh, that would be 5.9 because it's a little bit less than the square root of 36. But 30 was pretty much in the middle between 25 and 36. So the square root of 25 is 5, square root of 36 is 6. What's perfectly in the middle between 5 and 6? About 5.5. Okay. How about the square root of 50? What would you say that is? It's really close to 49. So what's your actual answer to the square root of 50, approximately? 7.1. Excellent, right? It's approximately 7.1. That's just saying it's a little bit more than 7. So the square root of 49 is 7, so the square root of 50 has to be a little bit more than 7. How about the square root of 90? 9 point, what do you guys say? 9.1, 9.5, or 9.9? 9 point. Let me ask you this. Is 90 really, really close to 81? Is 90 really, really close to 100? It's pretty much in between, right? So you're going to say 9.5. Again, the square root of 81 is 9. The square root of 100 is 10. So in between 9 and 10 is 9.5. Okay? So there's going to be 4 of those. I'm telling you exactly what's going to be on the quiz. And the last part of the quiz will be adding and subtracting and multiplying. 6 on adding and subtracting, 5 on multiplying and dividing. So this is, you could go ahead and copy down this: 6 add, subtract integers, 5 multiply, divide integers. Okay, copy that down. And then write down these examples. We are going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Now on this video, on this screen right here, I have everything mixed up. I have adding, I have multiplying, subtracting, I have it all mixed up together. On the quiz tomorrow, I'm going to tell you add or subtract, and then on the next section, multiply or divide. So it's even easier on the quiz. Right now, everything's mixed up. You need to identify when you're thinking of money or when you're thinking of the multiplication rules. Jot it down, and then we'll go over this. Okay, so let's begin by asking you this. Are we multiplying right here or thinking of money?
No. Thinking of money.
Thinking of money. Are we thinking of money? Yes. Thinking of money? No. Multiplying, right? Thinking of money? Yes. Thinking of money? Yes. Thinking of money? Yes. Okay. Thinking of money? No. Right. Okay. So whenever there's a sign between the terms, you're thinking of money. Whenever there's no sign between the terms, like number 3, there's nothing between them, you're multiplying. And you got to use the rules of multiplication. So number 1, what does this mean? I owe $3. I owe $5. So if I owe 3 and I owe 4, man, I owe $8. So that's negative 8. How about number 2? What does this mean? Do I have or do I owe? Owe 3. What does this mean? Have. Okay. So I owe somebody $3, but I have $5. I'll have $2 left. So that's a positive 2 because I have $2 left. Okay. Right here, we are not thinking of money. We need to multiply. What's 4 times 5? It's 20, and yeah, that negative times a positive is a negative. When the signs are different, the answer is negative. How about this guy right here? What do I need to do even before thinking of money?
So your negative 5 changes into a 5.
Yeah, the minus negative both change to positive. So now we could think of money. What does this mean?
So you owe $4, so you can pay them off and you have $1 left.
You pay them off, you have $1 left. That's right. You owe 4, you have 5, you pay them off, you have $1 left. I'm going too fast? Oh, I'm sorry.
What? I'm not doing nothing.
Okay. So Adrian, how about, let me ask you, Adrian, what does this mean right here?
You have $5.
And what does this mean?
You have $7.
Wait, what does this mean?
What? Oh, minus.
Yeah, minus 7 is the same thing as negative, which means that you owe, right? So if you have 5, you owe 7, man, you can't even pay him off. But you could at least give him the $5, and what do you say to him? You still owe him $2. That's right. Okay, again, before thinking of money, you have to change the minus to plus plus. And again, right here, this means you owe $8 and you only have 3 in your pocket.
So you can pay them and you have $5 left to pay.
You're going to still owe them $5. So that's why it's a negative 5. Okay, what is 12 divided by 3? 4.
12 or negative 12?
Well, it's a negative 12, but I'm just looking at the number 12 divided by 3. That's 4. And then I'm going to ask you, what's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. You don't even need to put the plus. You could just leave it as 4. Again, 8 divided by 2 is 4. But how about a positive divided by a negative? Negative. That's right. And that's the entire quiz right there, guys. I'm telling you, if you just review this video, if you look at your notebooks, the notes you just took, you should be able to get an A+ on the quiz tomorrow, and you will have an A+ in Algebra 1. It's going to feel great, all right?